Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kachat. It's the only podcast brave enough to ask the question, hey, what's up with Cars 2? I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm Lucas Southworth, too.
Whoa! He's John. I don't know if he's Lucas Southworth, too. I don't really know what that would mean. Expand on that, Lucas Southworth, too.
I'm you, except I make a lot less sense, and I've got spies and explosions.
Nice. I love that. That's right, folks. We are recycling one of our episodes, 100 episodes after the fact. If you remember right, episode 5 was entitled Lucas Finally Watches Cars 2, and we figured, as the Cars podcast, we should, still rewatch them every once in a while. So we watched Cars 2 again. That's this one. That's what we did. We told you this last week, but in case you didn't listen, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta imagine the episode title is something like "We Finally Rewatch Cars 2," so you understood this going in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we did. John, how did you enjoy rewatching the second Cars movie?
Well, I gotta say, it's still a bad movie.
Yes. But I will say, and I actually, in what I've got to imagine is an unprecedented turn of events for our podcast, went back and listened to a bit of an old episode.
Okay.
That being episode 5, Lucas Finally Watches Cars 2, just to sort of try to stay away from some things we really dive into in that one. But in that one, I say, I think how bad it is overhyped. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. And
okay.
I think I have sort of forgotten that impression it gave me over the past 100 episodes. And I watched it, and I was like, this isn't, great, but I'm having fun. It's fine. It's passable. I don't know. Cars 2 isn't as bad as people say it is. It's not good, but it isn't as bad as people say it is.
Okay. Bold. I will admit, there were points in this movie where it's like, okay, I guess that was clever or well written, and it was just things like there were constant callbacks. Like anything that Mater did, there's a chance that was going to be referenced later, such as Daggum. Oh, it's Gatlin. Okay, there's oh no, something's going on.
Everything seems fine on my end.
I hear Cars 2 again.
You hear what? Is the movie playing in your ears again?
I think it just started playing in the background again.
Fun.
Okay.
Have you resolved this issue?
I have not.
This would be sort of a fun energy to do the podcast with. Me completely uninhibited and you having to fight the distraction of Mater talking in your ear the whole time.
Fair enough. Okay, that's going to be hard to overcome, but let's do it. Let's see how long this lasts before I go absolutely insane.
I gotta say, John, fully a joke. Please resolve that.
Okay.
While John is working on that, what he was saying is there was a scene in which Mater goes, daggum, and the voice recognition thinks he says Gatling gun, and the guns come out, and he goes, shoot. And then it starts yeah, sure, and it starts shooting. And it's played for jokes, and it's pretty funny, and it's got a callback later. But also, there's real horror on Mater's face as he shoots guns wildly at these cars. And he goes, no, no, no! And like it was a joke, but also that would be horrifying if you had two guns in your hands firing off wildly that you couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
So
That would be very spooky. I figured out what the problem was.
was it that Cars 2 was playing in the background?
It was, but I realized that I had started fast forwarding and then rewinding, and then I was rewinding, and I just left it that way.
Ah,
And it rewinded all the way to the beginning of the movie, and then just started playing.
but that is resolved now.
And that is resolved now.
Perfect. That's great. So, as I said, I went back and listened to our first little go through of this movie, and I'll say that understandably so, we sort of focus on like the big things from Cars 2, you know,
Mm-hmm.
everyone dies.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, there's the Pope. Man, lemons get a bad rap. Those are like our big points in that first episode. We do some
Mm-hmm.
other stuff, but I gotta say, I enjoy the rewatches because I feel like I was able to be like, oh yeah, there's my friend Celine, the horrible headlight woman. I won't let that distract me for the next 20 minutes. No, no, no. I am used to her. So I can notice other tinier, less important details. And that's I gotta assume that's gonna be what a lot of today is about. Do you get that impression, Johnny?
Tiny details? I mean, like, what do you mean by tiny details? How many tiny details are, how tiny are we going?
Well, I've got at least, and we'll get here when we get here, I've got 6 different notes on the credits alone. So
Okay.
that's what I mean.
Okay. So I was gonna interrupt, and I was gonna be like, would you say something as small as pointing out the fact that the first spy's name was Leland Turbo?
Yeah, that is his name. Yeah.
Yep, it's Leland Turbo. That's an interesting name. I don't know why that's my first note, but it is.
Well, there we go. Yeah, I don't know how much more content we can derive from that, but I'm glad you've got them straight. And when I was going through the thing of like our big points from our first episode, we can still talk about how wild the body count of Cars 2 is. Because, folks, it is.
Mhm.
But we certainly do cover that in great detail in a lot of other episodes.
Yeah, it's very noticeable.
It's hard not to notice
Hmm.
is one thing I would say about it. But my first note is, what does that tiny boat think happened to Finn McMissile, you think? The one who he gets to take him out into the middle of the ocean and he gets turned around and he's like, sorry buddy, we gotta go. Hey, where are you? And then it
Hmm.
cuts away, but you know he thinks he's just killed a man.
See, my thought is there's no way that guy doesn't immediately turn around and be like, "Hey, okay, I know I need to leave and I know you've got that gun, but also a man may be drowning right now. Did you see a small man? I had a small man with me." And immediately Finn McMissile's cover is blown.
Yeah, and he's like, and let me tell you, it's not a boat, it's a car. If he's in the water, we have to act right now.
If you heard a splash or anything, please let me know. He's going to die.
This can't be happening again. I've got to stop taking random people with small details into the middle of nowhere in the ocean.
So yeah, that's a thing.
It certainly is. It really, really certainly is. My other notes about the oil rig scene are just about people dying. Really. There's a crane that's alive, and I want to know more about the crane. But we've seen living cranes before. I don't know.
Hmm. So I do have that as a note, is that there's a crane and he's on an oil rig, and it's just made me think about how many people in this world are alive and completely incapable of moving from where they exist.
Yeah, that's the thing about the crane. At least he can swivel, I guess, but that's not too much of a consolation.
Mhm.
Like all the stuff we said about the tragedy of being a train before we decided they were gods in that one episode. Imagine that, but I don't know, you don't even get a track.
You don't get forward and backward either.
Yeah, and at least most cranes aren't permanent, They
Mm-hmm.
move around or they get constructed and then deconstructed. That crane's entire existence is only on that oil rig.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not great.
So before that,
Yeah, go ahead.
smaller details. He says, "Don't get your prop in a twist."
Mm.
He's
That you want to get your prop in a twist. That's the whole
that's
point of the prop.
yeah, that's a bad expression. The entire point is, hey, don't get your knickers in a twist, which is, hey, don't get your, I believe, undergarments in a twist.
Yeah,
And it's, hey, you don't want to have bunched up underwear. It's going to make you feel unpleasant all day. Okay, that
sure.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't get that thing that twists in a twist. Are you telling me to stop being able to move? Because that's what it seems like you're saying.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anyway,
Magnet boots.
he does have magnet boots and they're very, very effective.
They're very effective and they're silent.
Yeah, that would be clunking and clanking around an awful lot, I gotta imagine.
Yeah, it would be clunking and clanking around, and the only thing you heard was his engine.
So, what's going on, the animators and sound designers of Cars 2?
The Foley work needs work.
Oh man, this podcast is pretty dumb, huh?
Absolutely. I feel like any commentary we have at this point on this movie is going to be commentary not about the movie, but about us observing not the movie, but us observing the movie.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's, you'd think we would have thought about or talked about, or man, after over a year of talking about, there's, okay, that's 2 years now. 2 years we're talking about cars, and we haven't ever mentioned this. There's so many small things.
One of the big ones, and this feels fun, seeing as I sort of laid out our big points from our first go at Cars 2. What I feel like is one of the things that really stood out to me in this one is Sally and then at the end, Flo just keep talking about how hot open wheeled cars are.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really weird. What are wheels, and why is having fenders over them a bad thing in the eyes of at least two female cars?
It's so exciting that, ooh, I'm gonna need some coolant.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Imagine if you looked at a person who was so attractive that you needed to have a literal drink of water
Let me
just to
sit
calm down.
down. Jeez.
They got you so excited you need assistance cooling down.
I feel like it's almost like an IV or something. Uh, okay, let's inhabit the brains of Flo and Sally Carrera here.
Mm-hmm.
We see Francesco Bernoulli or whatever his name is. We can see all up on those wheels because he's a formula car and their wheels are not inhibited by any sort of fender. What about that compared to the average car are we like, oh my god, about?
Okay. That's rough because what are tires? Tires, wheels.
Oh no, is
Is
it a foot thing?
It's a foot thing.
Oh no, Johnny.
But
Johnny, no.
but it's much worse than that. Cause you think about it.
I don't want to anymore.
It's just like the wheel, the tire, the wheel is the foot, the tire is the shoe. Okay, what you're seeing more of, you're seeing, I guess, more of that in general. So, what, I mean, are you seeing more foot? Are you seeing
Ugh.
more shoe? Are they wearing sandals in this case? Or is it like, oh, they're wearing shorter pants so I can see the tops of the shoe and foot?
Yeah,
Is this a shorts situation? Is this man wearing shorts? and they're really excited about his shorts.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going, is it's like a sort of less clothing, more revealing situation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but you are right that the wheels are kind of the feet of the car. And like I think it could be like, I don't know. I'm sure some women are into calves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Lily from How I Met Your Mother is super into Marshall's calves.
Well, there we go. And that's a real person. It's based some a real person wrote that at least.
All right. You were headed in the direction, so I'm going to try and take us home.
Okay.
What is a stereotype about a certain type of or article of clothing that is considered to be far more European?
Like a speedo?
Speedos.
Oh, okay. You think he's wearing a speedo?
I
Well, you don't
think.
think he's literally wearing a speedo, and I understand that. And you, the listener, need to understand that as well. We speak in metaphor and simile a lot on this, and sometimes we don't make it very clear that we're doing that. And I understand that. John doesn't think Francesco Bernoulli's wearing a speedo, but he does think he's doing the equivalent of wearing a speedo.
I think that these are all athletes,
Yeah, yeah.
and their athletic garb could be wild and various, and maybe racing shorts and like tight shirt are what Lightning wear, and Francesco is just wearing like a speedo.
I like literally every option we've put out. I don't like that Flo and Sally have a wheel fetish, but it's pretty funny. And I also like shorts. I like Speedo. I think it's really dealer's choice at that point. I think your best argument was Speedo, though.
Okay, I feel like speedo makes a lot of sense.
I it weirdly, man, it does. Even though, runners don't really wear Speedos, but who knows? Maybe they should. Maybe they're just embarrassed.
Maybe if they did, they'd be faster.
I don't know the science there.
No one does. No one can.
Hey, John,
Mm-hmm.
you know how Roombas are alive?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Lightning McClean is alive?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There's an ad for a vacuum cleaner. It's called Lightning McClean, and that's pretty funny. But also, in plates too, we did establish vacuums at least can be alive.
Mm-hmm. So I need to find it. This is rough. I've got so many tiny little things to talk about.
Oh yeah, I'm jumping around real bad.
Okay, so it's Finn McMissile has a tiny little person that jumps out from him, and then their entire existence is based on I'm gonna lift up half of this one vehicle, and that's it.
Oh yeah, his weird fighting jack that just pushes a car up on its side.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. It's weird that he has.
Do we think that thing's alive?
Okay, yeah. See, the thing is, I feel like we have to be consistent on Lightning McLean and this little Robo Jack. Like, I feel like whatever we say for one, we have to say for the other almost. The thing is, I really like Lightning McLean being alive, and I don't like that thing being alive. So, what do I care about more? I care more about the vacuum being alive. Yes, John, I think the Jack is alive.
Okay, so the Jack is alive. His life is tragic, and
Yeah.
he lives most of his life just under a man.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not sentient. That could be worse. I don't know. I don't know.
He reminds me of the butter passing robot from Rick and Morty.
That's literally exactly what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. What is my purpose? You lift up half of a car.
It's effective for like a minute. It's really just slows him down. It doesn't even put him out of commission.
Mm-hmm. Which, knowing how willing and able to kill any and every car that comes into his path, it's weird that Finn decides, you know what, this guy, This he's just gonna be sideways.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up when you brought up the Jack. Is like, if he's got non-lethal ways to deal with these people, why does he never ever use them?
He doesn't want to.
It almost feels like early in it they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll commit to like not having anyone be killed." And like that was an early scene where they had that. And then later they were like, "Ah, give them all guns." What do we got to do? It's a spy movie, and they
This is
just
a spy
left
movie.
the Robo Jack in as a detail they forgot to change.
Or maybe for some reason they were killing this, that, and the other people, and then they were like, well, we need to let the people know. We need to let them know that when these people die, they didn't have to die.
We need to let them know that Finn McMissile could spare these people. He is choosing not to choose mercy.
Mm-hmm. He just decided, I'm going to kill today. He woke up today and he decided to get to kill him.
He chose violence, folks. That's a thing people say now. This is a tiny little line, almost a throwaway line, but I don't even know that there's much we can talk about it. I just wanted to make sure you, the audience, heard it. Apparently, Mater's cousin Betsy was left at the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something that is said almost in the background. He says, "Y'all look more broke down than my cousin Betsy after she was left at the altar."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just kind of weird and interesting to me.
Yep.
Again,
Oh boy.
I don't. We don't need to spend any time on it. Just that.
Okay. So early on, there's a scene in the bathroom, and he talks to two different lemons. And I just need to explain that this entire scene is basically a hey, I don't want to be racist, but says racist thing.
Yeah, he does. I think even say like nothing
Nothing
bad.
against your maker model, but
You guys suck.
when you fail hard. Because gremlins are known for when they break down,
Mm-hmm.
they do so explosively.
That is one thing I kind of want to get into. Not Mater's weird like treatment of the women's, of how he seems to treat them nicely, but he really kind of doesn't. But more so, Mater's immense knowledge of the inner workings of cars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that's something I must have just not really paid much attention to the first time, because I was kind of not blown away, but like that's something we don't see like a side of Mater on a lot. Is he's like, I immediately recognize any maker model of car. I know a lot about their engines, a lot about their parts, etc. And that was, I don't know, kind of interesting detail to give Mater.
Yep, they liked a lot referencing anything that is, oh, yeah, Mater's really specifically good at blank, and it was, he must be the world's best backwards driver. Yeah, he's very well established as being a great backwards driver. That's just something that is known about Mater.
Yeah. We can get into this later, but man, this movie, I mentioned it to you the first time, about how this movie has no impact on Cars 3 literally whatsoever. And this
Mm-hmm.
was before you had watched Cars 3, so you're like, oh, really? That's a shame. But I would love to talk about it with both of us really knowing that.
Okay, so why on earth are you spending time establishing at the very end? Oh, yeah, I am his girlfriend.
Yeah,
You will never be seen or heard of again.
I guess they just broke up. I don't know. Like, there's no way to know. Like,
I
yeah,
mean, did they break up? Or
did he
did the
murder her?
person. I was gonna say death, but, because she's in a line of work where she could easily die. But okay.
I
Okay.
mean, I don't know, man. We've established a pattern with Mater and women.
I didn't think that we had established a serial killer esque vibe about him.
I don't know, man. Some things are signs of other things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or early warning signs of them.
Okay. Now let's talk about something, I guess, that's to me, a major plot hole that is just kind of something that it doesn't need to be.
Hmm.
It is extremely well established that Sir Miles Axelrod has his parts replaced constantly.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just convert to electric?
Why? Yeah. Why didn't he actually do it? Is a great question. if it, if people weren't like, no, that's impossible. How did you convert to electric? That means it's doable. You know
Mm-hmm.
that it's not outlandish.
Mm-hmm. We know that because of Rod Redline, we know that the engine block can be changed. That's just a thing that he was casual about. What? Oh yeah. What? Why does that matter? I can just get my engine block changed. And then Zandap just says something about, oh, well, there won't be anything left to replace after I explode you to death.
Yeah, that's
Real
exactly
good.
what he says.
Mm-hmm.
Are you reading from the wiki?
Yep.
Cool. It's the wiki quote of the day. Go ahead.
So we know that it's a thing that people are fairly casual about and that it's something people can do, and it's established, oh yeah, he just converted to electric, so it's a thing he could have done. He constantly has surgeries anyway, so we know that he it's not like more of a risk than his other constant surgeries. So the only reason for him not to is because he just doesn't want to.
Yeah, and like that gets into like my big tonal issues with this and how they treat the lemons. I think probably the reason is their whole thing is we should be proud to be lemons, you know? Like we should stand up and grab the respect we deserve. And like they treat it as such a like villainous thing, but they should be demanding respect. They should be standing up for themselves. And that's probably why he didn't actually convert to electric, if it is in fact possible, because, like, that's part of his identity. And they could have made that such a good thing. It's why I hate the decision in Planes that they cut off his crop dusters. But they treat it as villainous. I don't know. I know I said we wouldn't get into this as much because we got into it so much in the past 105 episodes, but
It's so hard not to get into because it's done so poorly. Like there's saying it was done poorly is not an understatement. It's inaccurate, but I don't know a better, easier way to say it. It's just very, very bad.
it's kind of like how several folks in the deaf and hard of hearing community are against personally getting a cochlear implant
Mm-hmm.
because they view their deafness or hard of hearing as part of their identity, and like that should be celebrated. So I don't know it just that brings the lemons bring this movie down so much for me, because
Mm-hmm.
again, watching it I was surprised by how much fun I was having and by how much heart like Mater and Lightning's relationship had. Like that their relationship and friendship is genuinely really well done. But I don't know. I hate the lemons, but not for the reason this movie wants me to hate the lemons.
Mm-hmm. I hate how this movie does lemons.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know much else to say about it that we haven't already covered
Yeah,
or that won't make me spiral even further.
we can move on. Two, apparently once Mater accidentally ripped out Luigi's battery.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a reference to sometimes people say, I know a move where I can rip out your heart and show it to you before you die. And that's what Mater did to a friend of his. He just admits it.
He even says like, I could rip out your battery and show it to you before you stall, like I accidentally did to my friend Luigi once.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, man. Don't do that. Don't nearly kill your friend Luigi, please.
Okay. While in this scene, he's describing his skill, and he's talking about how he has a black fan belt.
Yeah, like a
They're
black
all
belt.
they're all they're all fan belts like that I've ever encountered are black.
That's probably maybe an intentional joke then. But who would like? I would assume they'd all be black, but I wouldn't know for sure, without knowing anything about cars.
I mean, it's as good as saying I have a belt.
Yeah, again, I think that's maybe the joke. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a dumb joke, but I think that might be their intention. Did Luigi? Did he?
Did he die?
Did he for a while die until they put it back in there?
Well, he ripped it out and showed it to him before he stalled. Maybe Guido put it back in before he died.
Yeah, maybe Doc was still alive and he could help the process. Speaking of, this is another big point we've covered a lot. They barely mention Doc's death in this, huh?
Yeah, and the Piston Cup, they keep calling it the Piston Cup, even though it's been renamed in the fabulous Hudson Hornet's honor.
Yeah, I meant to look up if that's a plot hole, if they ever refer to it as the Hudson Hornet Cup in Cars 3, where it would make even more sense to do so,
Mm-hmm.
because it's the one about Lightning dealing with his grief from the loss of Doc Hudson 10 years after the fact. But probably not 10 years after the fact, several years after the fact.
It does seem like the people who made Cars 3 didn't watch Cars 2.
And like, I get it, not many people have, but also I don't, because obviously they should have. They're like J.J. Abrams and Ryan Johnson out here, am I right? That's a reference to our
Absolutely.
last episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a lot of Japanese game shows
Yes.
that are obstacle course based game shows
Mm-hmm.
in the real world. And there's one that they're watching on the plane. That's insane, right?
Obstacle course game show in their world
For cars?
seems difficult.
Because if you do an obstacle course and you're a person, there is a very large chance of injury.
Yeah.
Like, it's not guaranteed. I wouldn't say it's even 50-50. It's just much larger than it would be normally, and it's very dangerous. If you're a car, I gotta say it's more than 50-50. It's gotta be like 90% of contestants sustain permanent damage.
Yeah, you gotta imagine, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Seems like an easy way to knock a headlight out or something
Mm-hmm.
on the lower end of the injury scale.
Because if you're a person and you're doing one of those obstacle courses, oftentimes you'll get hit by a large foam thing and then you'll fall into water. Dead.
That's not, you don't want to fall into water if you're a car, as we've established in our previous watchings of this movie, where a lot of
Mm-hmm.
cars fall into water from high heights.
Okay, so obstacle courses seem like a buck wild thing to have.
Yeah,
Okay, let's talk about something real weird.
I'd love to.
Rod Redline has fake skin.
Yeah, he's got the mechanical disguise that. Where does his disguise go?
Under him. It's under him.
Okay.
And his body shape is different from the skin that he put on.
Also,
And I don't mean smaller.
yeah. Also, like, Mater has like magic holographic disguise.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you need big clunky metal disguise?
That's a great question.
I thought so.
Wish I had an answer, but I don't. He tears off his fake skin and puts it right underneath him in like 2 seconds. And it seems like very master of disguise, but it seems like the Americans are the master of disguise approach where you have a bunch of costumes that you can go in and out of and you just got to do a funny voice. And then there's also the Avengers in this world. And you just have that mask thing that they put on.
Yeah. Yeah, almost combined with like an Iron Man suit for how mechanically complicated this disguise seems.
Mm-hmm.
And also, why take it off? Keep it on so you
Just
can
keep
keep
it
up
on.
your cover in case your people come in,
Mm-hmm.
which they do.
They do. Uh, Also, they do that, but they already came in knowing he had betrayed them.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. It might have been explained why are suspicious of him, but if it was, I didn't catch it.
They're just like, hey, you've betrayed us.
And he's like, yeah, I did.
Yep. And then he says yeah, but also he's gotta be racist about it.
Everyone's so mean to the lemons, man.
He just starts laughing, like, what are you laughing about? Well, I had this weird flesh suit that I had just wrapped around me, but you guys just look like that forever.
They certainly do. I don't know, man. The lemons make me really mad and sad.
Yeah.
They make me
Yeah.
really mad and sad.
Of course. Okay, so same scene.
Yeah.
Different issue.
Uh-huh.
Why does Mater do a potty dance?
Yeah, he does sort of seem like he's really gotta pee when he isn't the one who just accidentally peed himself. And he also doesn't pee that I saw. Maybe he's just embarrassed and anxious, and like that's represented in his physicality there. But it's very clearly a like I've got to pee right now dance. Also,
Mm-hmm. It's a I gotta pee dance for a man who doesn't pee. Like you said, he doesn't pee, and I think you may have meant he doesn't use the restroom when he goes into it.
yeah,
But he says that he never leaks oil, and leaking oil is peeing. So this man does not pee.
I would say leaking oil is peeing accidentally. Like I don't fully understand their bathroom. That I was gonna say more, but I think that sums it up. Uh, but it seems like they do have some sort of greater need to expel some sort of waste than like cars in our world do, you know?
Maybe.
Because they have bathrooms, they have
Mm-hmm.
them. And the lavatory services truck at the airport is absolutely chock full of oil. People use the airplane bathroom.
Did a lemon drown in poo poo pee pee?
He certainly fell in it, man. And I don't know that we see him unfall in it.
And
So
I don't know how you could have gotten him out of it.
yeah.
So yeah, that man probably drowned in poo poo pee pee.
Oops. Sorry.
Okay, so he does that dance despite the fact that he didn't need to. And it's supposed to be, ha ha, this man doesn't understand the toilet, but several things.
Yeah.
I feel for him just because sometimes uh, experiencing a completely new bathroom setup in a foreign place is going to be difficult.
Sure.
But add on to that, it's a different place, different language, and also, if this man doesn't pee, it's not that he's not used to this toilet, it's that he doesn't have any toilets
Yeah. Okay.
ever that he's ever used. So, of course, he's going to be confused by it.
I agree. Yeah. You've made an excellent argument, Johnny.
It's just so silly. And it's weird. There are different complaints to make. Is it all about how Mater is an idiot, or is it about how he's loud? Because I can get behind we should support this man because you shouldn't treat him like an idiot. You shouldn't treat him like he's just this buffoon that's, oh, ha ha, he's our clown to laugh at. That's just rude.
Yeah.
But he's so loud about it. He's being extremely disrespectful to everyone else by being performatively loud in the ways that he makes mistakes.
Yeah. Like I agree with the little message they have of like Luigi and Guido's uncle, who's like, "Why did you ask him to change if he's your best friend?" Great. But also he is like it's not that he's dumb, it's that he's like pretty rude a lot of the time, and I don't think he means to be rude. I genuinely think if we're not reading this as a Mater is a god, then Mater is truly just a little ignorant about the ways of the world. He was raised a certain way, he's always lived a certain way, and he is not intentionally being rude. But that doesn't mean you can't be like, hey, Mater, this is a new place. You've got to, like, be a bit more polite and respectful to these things you don't understand.
See, I don't think that's taking it far enough. I think a major problem with this is it's preaching a message of you shouldn't ask people to change. There are behaviors that people have
Yeah.
that need to change. There are things that people do that are not acceptable. Mater not only is rude, but he actively causes harm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't know that what he's doing is bad and wrong and needs to be changed. And this entire message of this film is, hey, don't change for other people. No, no, you should in specific ways. Like, hey, you are a guy who tows people. If you have someone on your line and you're taking them to a location to get fixed, do not drive so fast that you will scrape them against the ground.
Yeah.
You are hurting this man. It's your job to help him. And since there's no other tow truck around, you're the only person who can do it. People need to stop you from doing this because it's a very bad thing.
Yeah, like it's a very clearly like a be yourself message, or a like accept your friends for who they are kind of message, which sure, but like you can expect your friends to like be better about certain things. Then like Lightning kind of has every right. And Lightning, to the credit of the movie, Lightning is never specific with Mater, I'd say, about like, hey, he shouldn't have to tell him this, but hey, don't eat the spicy and then run through the crowded party and put your mouth in the water. But like he's also never specific about like, hey, maybe if you could lower your voice a little bit, or hey, we're at this theater and you have a big umbrella, so the person behind you probably can't see, bud.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
And the entire approach is bad.
yeah,
And that needs to be acknowledged. Is he doesn't correct the behaviors that he needs to correct. He doesn't tell him how he can be better. He just gets angry with him and then snaps at him. And that's what a lot of people do. They'll hold on to their feelings. They won't try and help you be better. They'll just hold on to it until they can't take it anymore. And then they'll snap at you. And it's not helpful for anyone because they've made you feel bad. But in no way did their making you feel bad progress anything. It was just an attack.
yeah, I think the movie is absolutely correct in placing Lightning in the wrong. It's just not as correct in placing Mater not in the wrong at all.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, State Farm did a weird product placement in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance?
Insurance. Agents. Secret agents?
No, insurance agents,
Insurance
my guy.
agents.
So we've covered insurance a little bit. I think we've just been like, if there is insurance, but no, there's, I don't know, themselves insurance, life insurance, car insurance, who can say?
It's almost certainly all the same thing, but like,
Yeah.
you bet those race cars better be paying a premium.
I would be making them. There are a few statues I'd like to talk about, John.
Please do.
First one is in Porticosa in Luigi's family's area. We see a statue of a car with a trident, who I absolutely have to assume is going to be the Roman god of the sea, Neptune, but a car. And A, just kind of fun. Roman pantheon, so implied Greek pantheon, also exists. I'm going to go ahead and say Pantheon. But B, why wouldn't they make the god of the sea a boat or something? Maybe a submarine,
That's a very good question.
seaplane, something.
Well, there's only one answer.
I'd love to hear it.
It's racism.
Yeah, that was my answer.
Why do Christians think that Jesus was white?
Yeah,
He wasn't. He wasn't.
yeah. Okay, open and shut. Love it. Also, there are multiple in this movie statues of cars with angel wings or bird wings, one.
Hmm.
And I don't know. Not sure we've ever seen such an explicit biological body part in the Cars verse before, so I did want to cover that.
Well, we've seen a bear flag.
We have, you're absolutely right.
We've seen dinosaurs.
Mm. Yeah, this movie is the one that explicitly confirms dinosaurs were a thing.
Hmm. It's ridiculous. But dinosaurs, very real. And I feel like, okay, so I think we've talked about it before. The idea that maybe like construction equipment is dinosaurs.
Yeah, yeah.
And we saw like the perfect example of that in this movie.
With the giant dump truck.
The giant truck is so big and it behaves like I guess I would imagine a dinosaur would
Yeah,
cuz it's like a cow except it's
it's
20
3 stories
times as
tall.
big.
Yeah,
It's insane. And then it just farts on them.
I sure do. That's pretty
Mhm.
great. Love that.
It farts on Lightning before his date.
I have maybe the smallest detail here. It doesn't matter, but there's a scene in a casino, and instead of dice, they roll fuzzy
Fuzzy
dice.
dice.
But they still have the string connecting them.
Mhm.
So whatever numbers on that side, they wouldn't roll right. They wouldn't be
Yep.
random.
I wanted to mention that, but I'm pretty sure we did talk about that in the episode where we talked about this movie the first time.
I skipped around. Who can say? It made me really mad this time for some reason. Probably as someone who's gotten much more into D&D since that first episode.
Yeah. It's just, hey, that's a bad thing to do. And I get it's a car joke,
Yeah.
but you can't make so many car jokes at the expense of using any amount of logic.
Yeah. And again, it's a kind of funny car joke even.
Hmm.
It's kind, but I don't know. It just made me mad, and I could feel it being a stupid thing to get upset about, but it didn't stop me.
Yeah, it's a crazy choice to make.
All right, what do you got, Johnny?
All right. So we've talked about how the lemons, just their combat tends to be I'm going to hit it. I'm going to run into it. I'm going to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
They're sumo wrestlers.
Yeah, there sure are.
That's what they do. And like the difference is that it's implied that when the lemons are doing it, it's more like an action sequence in a movie where you're just like seeing a bunch of people punch each other a lot. Okay, there's that. Uh, but when it's translated into cars, it's just hitting. And then you translate sumo wrestling into cars and it's just hitting. So they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And we talked about demolition derbies, and also I'm pretty sure I've mentioned that in a demolition derby, an important thing to do is you don't ram into things with the front of your car.
Mm-hmm.
You want to back into things because you don't want to mess up the engine. These sumos hit each other head on. They're gonna be destroying their bodies every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so sumos, I just had to throw that out there. They do a lot of like references to Japanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I believe, geishas in it.
Yeah, there certainly are. I was gonna ask if I could do a credits speed round real quick.
Go for it.
First off, the song in the credits is absolutely horrible. That's one of my notes. Is just song sucks. It's very bad. I just want to establish that. Stuff that actually implies something. They have a bunch of different postcards from around the world. One of them that really supports Mater as a god. They go to the Materhorn, which is the Matterhorn, but it's shaped like Mater. So, what are we even doing anymore, folks? He made a mountain in his own image. Uh, then I found two things in there that really support the throughout history, it's always been cars. It's not like chariots or something. One, they see the terracotta army, which are a bunch of clay statues made in ancient China to replicate an army and their cars. And two, the American Revolution painting that was a big basis of one of our Moments in History episodes actually appears in the end credits as one of the things off to the side. It's mostly covered up, but it is that painting. So everything we were saying that we were sort of walking back with, this is just concept art, so who knows? We can just be like, no, yeah, it's a thing. It's in a Cars movie. I don't know what to tell you. They're sort of motion postcards. So in one of them, there are some bird planes and they flap their wings instead of just flying like planes, and that drove me crazy. And the last one is we see Mater's passport. His birthday is January 12th, 1957.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He's an old man with a best friend who's gotta be younger than that.
Gotta, and we can't even start talking about his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. That's gross.
It is. That's my speed round. Anything you'd like to expand upon?
No, I'm just realizing time-wise, I'm gonna need to go through so many of these things real fast, so I got a speed round of my own.
That's why I did my speed round. I looked at our clock.
Okay, let's go for it.
Yep.
He calls the Formula car fragile, and he loses his mind about being called fragile.
Correctly.
Yeah. That's super rude. Very racist. Lightning, how dare you? Piston elevators. The elevators are shaped like pistons.
Yeah.
Imagine if our actual elevators were shaped like hearts.
It'd be weird. Man, you are early in the movie. No wonder you have to do a speed round.
The code phrase that they use is just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, hey, this is a thing. Oh yeah, this is why. That call and response doesn't. You need to say something that people won't know.
Yeah.
And sure, you could argue Mater is someone who knows more about things, but essentially Mater just like has doctor style knowledge. So like, hey, interesting fact about the circulatory system. Yeah, it's because of this reason. There are so many people who could have said that. Engine block replaced. Already said that. Ripped out battery. Pay-per-view. Did Mater watch porn? It could just be a pay-per-view movie.
Yeah, I think that's they were going for, but I think that anyone older than 15 would think that when hearing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like the embarrassed nature of, hey, I didn't mean to order that movie. I'm so sorry. Like, okay, this guy's embarrassed about the pay-per-view. Oh, it's porn.
Yeah, sorry.
The three-wheel guy who gets tased. Why has he got three wheels?
There are cars like that, but it's weird.
It's yeah, okay. Luigi and Guido used to argue about who looked more like a Ferrari.
It's Luigi.
It's Luigi.
But neither of them, but of the two of them.
One of you is a forklift and one of you is a car. A Ferrari is a car. It's the car. Okay. You look hungry. My wife says you look hungry. She's going to feed you. We talked about this before. What does it mean that Lightning looks hungry?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay. There's a diving board.
Yeah, man. I forgot that one. I meant to make a note and I didn't.
It's the playground of the rich, and there's a car that just dives into the water and hopefully doesn't die, but we can't know that.
It looked like a little bit maybe they had a floaty or something, but I couldn't tell, and I'm not sure that that's true. Go ahead.
Accidental. I've got two that are really big things.
Okay, that's fine. Go for it.
But then I'm going to skip those. Okay, visor and parachute. There's a guy who's just got like a weird sun visor on, and he's a boat. That's crazy. The parachute, that's not how parachutes work, Mater. He deployed his parachute while standing still on the ground, and then he started floating upward.
It's also not how they work when he does it in London to fly, even if you had propulsion.
It actually kind of can work like that. That is a thing that some people do. Except they use fans and not jet engines because that would almost certainly be too fast.
Yeah.
The poison gas.
Yeah.
So he does breathe. We know that.
Yes.
We've known that for many reasons, but that poison gas knocked him out real quick. Taser, cheating, task force, radiator springs, have a nice day, Sir Tomater, Van and Minnie.
Oh, they survived. Good note. They
They,
survived the end of Cars.
despite the fact that they definitely died, they were there. Taser, why did they get rid of his bullets? Not his gun, sure. Why didn't they take the battery out of her taser?
An excellent question.
Cheating, Lightning clearly cheats in that race, but like I don't think they declared an actual winner, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Task Force Radiator Springs. Why is every single member of Radiator Springs capable of taking out either armed or dangerous villains?
Some of them by just turning on their headlights.
Okay, Ramon just straight up tries to blind a man.
I mean, if you're in life and death and you got a can of spray paint, I won't feel bad if you do it to someone.
Fair enough. But like every single one of them, Guido takes off tires super fast. Sheriff cuffs like 6 different cars. 2 of them you notice because they're in like the front, but then like in the background you can notice there are like 4 or 5 cars just piled and flipped for
Yeah,
no reason. So that's crazy.
that was weird.
Red, very powerful water hose.
Yeah, probably
All right.
accurate.
Have a nice day. Why on earth would you program your bomb to say have a nice day, your name?
Smiley face.
That's insane.
It is. I kind of
Uh,
love it, but yeah, it is weird.
Sir Tomater confirms 100% his name is Toe Mater. It's not the name of his company. His name is Toe Mater.
I guess you're right, but I don't think that's what it was in the first movie. I think
It
that's a
wasn't.
retcon.
It wasn't, and it was, and it's deeply upsetting.
It is.
All right, now the 2 big ones. This plan makes no sense.
Nonsensical.
The only way it would make sense is not if they had some oil, which is what it is. They found oil, and okay, that would make you rich. You found oil. So they're going to destroy organic fuel? Clearly, it's not a problem until you make this big old hubbub about all in all, you were fine. And then you create your own fake problem, and then you destroy your own fake problem so that your thing that you're already going to make so much money off of might make like 1% more money.
Sounds like rich people to me, man. I don't know.
I don't think rich people would be that uh, obvious about it.
Yeah, okay.
Rich people are sneakier than that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay. And then this entire movie is accidentally anti-science.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
The message is accidentally, hey, you can't trust science. And if someone is a corrupt businessman, they can just do something very simple and lie to you, and no one's ever going to check. And you can't trust anything. And your fuel sources are going to be manipulated. And your hippie friends, sure, the ones you know are going to be right, because even though they're not scientists, the people you know are the people you can trust. But anyone who suggests being a hippie large scale is clearly a liar, because you know large scale uh, differences can't be made. You can't do good things on a large scale.
Yeah, and like I actually kind of love the big oil is big oil man line cuz
Mm-hmm.
like honest to god, yeah. But it is like, and this is a children's movie. We understand this. Hundreds of people would be testing all in oil. They wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have realized it was just gasoline.
It's just gasoline.
Gasoline that blows up under certain circumstances.
And I get there are a lot of people out there like, well, he's rich, so he just paid to have it like brushed under the independent studies are a thing. You get that, right? Like anyone who's anti-vax, you get that if anyone could prove that it was actually a secretly evil thing, they would do it.
Yeah.
which is basically any anti-vaxxer out there. If you're listening to me, don't know why you are. I don't like you.
Sure.
If you're listening to this right now, I gotta explain something to you. Your whole message is that anyone who agrees with you is incapable of performing the science necessary to confirm what you think. Oh boy. So yeah, Cars 2 accidentally anti-vax.
Oops. Sorry.
Because like the whole message of the movie is, hey, well, not the message. The premise of the movie is this rich guy is corrupt, so he easily deceives the masses and then feeds them poison because he can, because no one's gonna bother to check.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you took the chance to watch Cars 2 again, if you'd like. I don't know. Again, besides all that stuff that makes us angry about lemons and whatever John just said about it being anti-vax on accident, again, I think it gets a bad rap. It's not a good movie, but give it a chance. Some of the stuff where Mater was sad made me sad, so
Mm-hmm.
that's good. Anyway, if you want to connect with us and send us something that you'd like us to talk about. Maybe there was something you noticed in Cars 2 when you watched it that we didn't even touch on, and you want to send it to us, you can do so at our email, which is thekachat@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us and follow us on Twitter, which is @thekachat. Both of those are all one word. There's no hyphen in there, even though there's one in the title of the show. Now it's John's turn to do outro things.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell anyone and everyone you think might be the least bit interested in this kooky little podcast, and actually rate and review, because those are important things. And until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.
Tiny robot army.